Hi, my name is Ralph, and I'm an alcoholic. Day 5, episode 5. Wow. That means I've been doing this for 5 days straight. I know it doesn't sound like much, but if you ever try to floss regularly or keep a houseplant alive, 5 days is already pushing miracle territory. So, let's see. Today's reflection, April 17th, is about something we all know way too well. Love and fear as opposites. Yeah, just a casual little topic. No big deal, just, the two primary emotional forces that shape all human behavior. Easy stuff. Fear. Fear. Well, it says love and fear, but I immediately jump on the negative part and concentrate on fear. And I believe I know why that is. During my early recovery in a rehab center, we were given that presentation about fear. And that basically almost everything comes down to some sort of fear. I was really impressed by that, and analyzing my thought patterns and behavior, I came to believe that this was indeed right. And it was shocking news to me because I did not see myself as fearful. But there is quite a few forms of fear I can see in myself. The fear of not being enough, the fear of being seen too clearly, the fear of failing, or even worse, succeeding and still not feeling good about it. This fear isn't just a feeling, it becomes actually a filter. I used to look at the world through that filter. Everything and everyone became a potential threat to my ego, my image, my fragile little fortress of self-protection. I remember before I went into recovery, the fear was mostly about not making it through the day. Basically, fear of dying because of how bad I felt mentally and especially physically. But then there was this other fear of how the world would react if I admitted I had a problem and went into rehab, how my parents would take it, etc., etc. Many horror scenarios that played in my mind, but I did not and was not able to see that this was all quite some bull, and nothing bad but only good could come from going into rehab and confronting my problems. That idea that fear is actually an illusion, like it says in the 12 steps and 12 traditions, the idea of fear as an illusion sounds sort of poetic, but it's annoyingly true. Most of my fears never actually came to pass. I believe to remember that someone once claimed that 90% plus of our fears never materialize. What did happen is I built all these defense systems around my fears. Sarcasm, withdrawal, control, people-pleasing, and those defense systems caused me the real problems. One of the weirdest shifts for me in recovery has been that I was learning that I don't have to feel safe before I act with courage. I can be scared and still do the next right thing. Because courage, surprise, 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 doesn't mean that I'm not afraid or that you're not afraid. It just means fear doesn't get to drive the bus. It might be buckled in the back seat with snacks, but it's not touching the wheel. And here's the twist, and here's where finally love comes into play. The more I acted in love, the less power fear had. Not the mushy Hollywood kind of love. I mean real love, like being present without needing to fix. Speaking up even if my voice shakes. Telling the truth even when it's awkward. Forgiving myself and others without a dramatic monologue. I remember speaking in public was always a major drama for me. I remember a handful of incidents where I performed really badly, or at least I perceived it that way. Well, at least a couple of those were really indeed super bad. Anyone who had been there would surely agree. But yeah, nowadays I still get the shakes at times, but I make it through without major breakdown. I learned not to be overwhelmed by fear anymore. Love and fear don't live well together. When fear's in the room, love tends to tiptoe out. But when I show up with love, real action-based, unglamorous love, fear starts to shrink. And maybe that's my goal today. Not to eliminate fear, but to give love more room to breathe. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable goal. And yes, that's it for today. My name is Ralph. I'm an alcoholic. Have a great day.